All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to our Self-Security's Founders Corner. I have with me today for episode 10, Michael Nicosia. Welcome, Michael. It's good to have you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
So we were going to talk this time about something that's almost impossible to get away from it. If you turn a computer on, you're going to see some mention of this somewhere. AI, right? AI agents, MCP. Let me just start with your perspective on why is that so common now? Why are we hearing it so much or so popular? What do you think is driving that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I hear it all the time. And I think what happens with new technology, new innovation that technology is able to embrace, I think there's a number of individuals that just want to try it to see what it can do for them. And there's so much excitement around this because not only is it easy to use, it's easy to deploy, it's easy to implement. And, in essence, it provides enhanced productivity within your organization. And it could be throughout the organization through many of the functional areas of the organization. So I think it's just that new technology, new innovation phase that
Yeah.
we're in.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense how you frame that. That's a great way to say it because we have seen innovations before, right? We've seen innovations, and I will say just like you go back, one of the big just cloud computing, right? And there was a lot of resistance to it, but then there was also a lot of people just adopting it quickly. But one of the things that they didn't do at that point, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what you're saying, is the companies that didn't adopt it. A lot of the reason was security. They said we can't be secure, and then the ones that did said we think it's a reasonable trade-off, or they did put security in place before they went there. Are you seeing, is it similar with AI and MCP servers and how people are deploying similar mindset?
Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag because it's so easy to deploy and it's so easy to leverage it and use. I think organizations across the world are just trying it. And
Right.
what's come into play is obviously, and I hear this from CISOs all over the world, is that they're really concerned about functional groups that just kind of deploy MCP servers and just start agentic AIs and AI agents and
Yeah.
so on without really taking a closer look at the security risks associated with that. So I think just like anything else, there's advantages of technologies. The unfortunate thing is that bad actors also take advantage of these technologies
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
again, if you think about agentic AI, it's just another API. And
Yeah.
it's just another threat vector that these bad actors have access to.
So it almost sounds like what you're saying is when you said that last piece in particular, that it's just another AI or an API. It sounds like this new, I don't know if it's even a dynamic or a paradigm or a strategy, maybe we'll call it, that people are deploying these agents. From your perspective, you've seen this show before, right? You've seen it when people started to go through modernizing their infrastructure or digital transformations. Those were all driven by APIs. It
Mhm.
sounds like this is really similar to that.
Yeah, I mean, to us specifically, it's exactly when you talk about digital services. I mean, these are all API driven, whether it's applications, on the mobile side or on the website,
Yeah.
microservices. I mean, this is just another API that we can not only provide visibility to, we can also govern and obviously protect against. So for us, it's very similar to what we've seen in the past. And this
Yeah.
is why we're so excited about, the fact that we're hopeful that organizations continue to adopt this in a very safe way, in a very secure way, and we can help with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let me just drill into that a little bit. At a very basic, like I'll call it an architectural level. Let's say that you have an agent. It's going to send a request of some sort to an MCP server, who then will go to multiple data sources. It could be databases, it could be an application, it could be the internet, it could be whatever, and then that all comes back, and then it goes through that server back to the agent. I think what you're saying is that's all API traffic,
Yes,
all of that, right? Which
exactly.
which is what Salt developed, was to understand that almost in the prior world, it was almost a one-to-one, like from an application to a data source and back, right? It would be doing a get or a post or whatever it is. Now you take that and it just amplifies it, right? Like 50, 100x to get that information back to someone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you described it very, very well in its simplistic terms. The reality is, again, APIs become ubiquitous. You're not only multiplying it by hundreds or thousands. It's just amplified, and not only in certain areas of organizations, but across all organizations. Because not only people, all of the people can take advantage. Whether you're in marketing, development, in sales, whatever
Yeah,
function within the organization, you can take advantage of this technology for additional productivity and
yeah,
additional enhancements to what you want to do. Cost savings, right? You don't have to hire as many programmers per se. So yeah, so it just amplifies the problem, and the problem remains that you've got a blind spot when it comes
yeah,
to bad actors being able to infiltrate these applications to gain sensitive data
yeah.
or sensitive information.
So one of the things, if you keep like pulling back and saying why are you doing whatever you might be doing, there could be some productivity gains, like you said. A lot of times it's because companies are focused on their customers and they're trying to deliver a better experience, and this could do that. And I imagine Salt's doing the same thing. So maybe, are you doing anything in the product that makes it, that takes advantage of AI or MCP servers to make it a better experience?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we leverage AI within, our own software. We leverage it also from a development perspective to enhance the productivity of new feature releases that we're trying to push out. If you think about Salt security from an application perspective, obviously we've got what is called Pepper that basically allows organizations to better understand their APIs
Mm,
and what they're doing, within the application itself. And you can, just like a chat GPT, you can ask for specific information
yeah,
regarding your APIs. So that's built into our dashboard. It's built
got
in
it.
through all of our modules that we provide to organizations.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is like the product is super strong and gives you a ton of information, and you could find anything really that you wanted about your APIs or your the
Mhm.
posture of them or what have you, or are they being attacked? What you've done is taken and said, well, why don't you just interact like you would just interact with a person and say, like,
Exactly.
do I have any APIs that are at risk? Any of my APIs, exposing sensitive information, and what should I do about it? And literally just like that, and using AI, you get an answer back that you can then understand that, but then also maybe take action on it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Not only take action on it, you could also, create custom reports associated with that.
yeah, right.
So there's a whole bunch of benefits associated with that. I mean, if you think about it from a simplistic term, if let's say you're writing an email and you want to make it better, you ask ChatGPT or Genesis
Yeah,
to make it better, and it provides you some alternative methods. It's very similar to that from what we provide our customers. The more interaction, more insights, just
yeah,
answering questions. And again, from a CISO perspective, we can also create customized reports that CISOs can take to the boardroom
yeah,
or
right.
to their bosses and so on, or to other CISOs in terms of what they're doing for best
Yeah.
practices and so on.
And I think what you said there, the last part was pretty key, which was the custom piece. So where you always have reports in the product that give you some level of insight. Everyone's different, right? I mean,
Mhm.
almost by definition, that's why people are called customers, because they're custom, right? And
Right.
I think what you're saying is, imagine you go in and say, give me a report that shows me all of my APIs, where they are
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
world, which ones are
Mhm.
high risk, which ones are low,
Mhm.
and format it into a table that's 5 columns and 16 rows, and we just do that. It would give you that
Yep.
custom report that you can then share wherever you want. I think that's an incredible use of AI agents, especially with Salt. Let me maybe start to wrap us up with a question. From, if you were looking back when you started Salt, is there anything that you learned that from that time that is applicable to where we are now? Because it feels like it's a page turn of a chapter from what it used to be, and then now as AI agents are becoming more and more prevalent. Anything you learned in the past that applies to this new world?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned earlier in our discussion, this is like we've seen this movie before with a whole bunch of new digital services and innovation that organizations were deploying across their companies to either drive revenue or some other things that they were doing from an organizational perspective. I
Right.
think there's a right way to take advantage of some of these technologies. And what we're saying is we at Salt Security can help you take advantage of these new innovative technologies by giving you the visibility and the governance and the protection to make it safe for you to use these solutions moving forward.
Yeah.
So I think, ultimately what we'd like to see, just like we did in the past, is we want to give CISOs and everybody or people in organizations the freedom to take advantage of these new solutions in a safe way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the way that you were saying that it's deja vu all over again, to
Yeah.
quote right, Yogi Berra. But what I think what you're saying is like it's the same problem that people had before, which was what do they have? That first step is what AI agents are interacting with my APIs. Just show me that. Show me where my servers are. So just like people were spinning up zombie or shadow APIs in the past, same thing on MCP servers.
Mhm.
And you have no visibility. And that first step is tell me what I got, show me what I've got, show me where my risk is. Once I get a handle on that, maybe I'm more likely to release these more broadly or what have you. And then ultimately protect them from being attacked, I think.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
we see this all the time from a security perspective. The very first step is, what do I have out there across my entire organization? The
Yeah.
discovery or the visibility piece that we could provide in minutes, right?
Yeah.
What happens then afterwards is, I've got this visibility, so how do I govern these APIs? And, how do I
Yeah.
create or overcome some of the posture gaps that might be happening that I need to fix right away? And then as you continue to kind of move in the direction of wanting to protect them, then we've got
Yeah.
our threat protection that allows us to take advantage of seeking to see if there's any bad actors that are trying to
Yeah.
infiltrate your APIs, which
Yeah.
also includes agentic AIs.
For sure. Yeah. And I think, it's one of the things that puts Salt in a unique position is where we sit architecturally, we see all of that traffic. So we're not limited like some of the existing solutions to only seeing north-south traffic or south-north traffic or east-west. We see all of it. So
All
we
of it.
see all of the traffic. So we're really the only way that you can see what does my collective landscape look like, or what does my API fabric look like, and where are the risks? Yeah, so I thank you, Michael, again for joining us. I do want to remind everyone we do these every 2 weeks, so please check back often. But even more importantly, Michael's going to go more into the business side of agentic AI and MCP servers and how to leverage them. So there's a webinar that Michael's hosting on August 28th. It's called the CISO's AI Dilemma: How Security Leaders Are Making or Breaking Their Company's Future. We've got a lot of great content planned for that, so please do go to the website. You'll see a registration link for that to join us on August 28th, where we'll go even more in depth in this. With that, Michael, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, and everyone else, check back every 2 weeks. This is another episode of Salt's Founders Corner, this time with Michael Nicosia. Thank you, everyone.